Hi, welcome to Classic Real Estate School's Alabama Real Estate Brokers 60-hour course. My name is C. Marlene McKinley, and I'll be your instructor. Section 1 in your workbook, online course workbook, is just a section that will give you information about navigating around the site, the extra benefits that are offered with the online workbook, as well as telling you what you need to do as far as your real estate commission is concerned. Please don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions if you should have any. Questions and assistance. I have a virtual office that I want you to treat as if you got in your car and drove to bricks and mortar. If you see my car in the parking lot, you know most likely I'm in the office. You come in and you visit with me. You have a link below that will get you to that GoToMeeting classroom. If you come in and you see that the mic is off and the camera is off, if I don't respond and say hello within the next 30 seconds to 1 minute, text me, because I may have gotten up from my desk and I'm not sitting directly in front of the computer. The other thing is, if you come in or try to get in and it says waiting on host or waiting for the meeting to start, something like that, that means I'm not in the office at the moment. You can still text me for an answer and such. It's just that I'm not sitting in front of the computer. So feel free at any time to contact me. Remember that I am available 24/7, including holidays. Don't worry about the time. I've got everything set up as not to disrupt me if I'm unavailable. And I will contact you as soon as I do become available. Thank you, good luck, and let's get started. Section 2, Alabama Licensing Law. The Alabama Real Estate Commission, known also as AREC, A-R-E-C, Brokerage Regulations.
Now, qualifications for a broker's license is much the same as a salesperson's license, with the exception of the 60-hour pre-licensing course is a broker's pre-licensing course. And the sales associate has had to have proof of active real estate license for at least 24 months out of the past 36 months. Applicants that do not maintain an active current real estate broker must submit the following: application and proof, active real estate salesperson license from any state for at least 24 out of 36 months, high school diploma or equivalent, completion of a 60-hour course, any other information requested by the commission, and pass a state exam. A real estate broker is licensed to buy, sell, exchange, or lease real property for others for a fee and may operate as a sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or limited liability company. The real estate brokerage may be independent or part of a regional or national franchise. Those who may serve as a qualifying broker must be licensed in Alabama. Their principal business must be real estate, and they must be in a position of actual supervision on a full-time basis. Serving as a qualifying broker for more than one company. No person may serve as a qualifying broker at more than one location unless all companies consent in writing, the company and purpose for the qualifying broker, files written consent with the commission, and they're doing business from the same location. When there's a termination of the qualifying broker, must notify the commission in writing and return the license of the terminated licensee to the commission. Temporary qualifying brokers must designate a temporary qualifying broker within 30 days of a vacancy of your qualifying broker. Must be broker or salesperson for at least 1 year prior to filing. may only serve up to 6 months before a licensed qualified broker is designated. If a licensed qualified broker is not designated after 6 months, the company license will become inactive. So, let's talk about reciprocal licenses requirements. If you have an original current license in another state, you may be able to get an Alabama reciprocal license by doing the following. You need to take a 6-hour course in Alabama real estate law. You need to take and pass the reciprocal salesperson's exam on the law within 12 months of your completion. You obtain a certificate of licensure within 120 days of the receipt of the reciprocal license application, and the application for license is going to be given to you at the test center upon your passing the exam. Operating from home is allowed for a licensed broker living in a rural area of the state. It must be set up and maintained as an office. It cannot be used for living purposes. Used by broker only, not as a place for an additional licensee. They must have a separate business phone and identified as a real estate office. Relocating a brokerage office. You must notify the commission within 30 days. Include an old and new address. Return all the brokers and salespersons' licenses to the commission and pay a $25 fee transfer for each license. Every Alabama real estate firm must be properly licensed with a company license and a qualifying broker's license. At a minimum, a branch office must have at least 2 licenses, a qualifying broker's license and a branch office license. Sign requirements for a brokerage is the fact that it needs to identify the real estate company, be visible to the public. Now, it's not required to be outside, but it needs to be before entering the establishment, maybe on a door or a window, somewhere where the person knows when they open that door that they're entering a real estate brokerage. The Alabama Real Estate Commission is made up of 9 members. Their appointment is made by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. Of these 9 members, 1 member must be black and the other member must be a consumer member that hasn't held a real estate license in the past 10 years. The Alabama Real Estate Commission qualifications include being a resident and citizen of the state for at least 10 years prior to the appointment. For those that have been licensed, their vocation for at least 10 years shall have been as a real estate licensee or broker. The 1 member that is the consumer member cannot have been licensed as a salesperson or broker within the past 10 years. They need to be a registered voter, 21 years or older, not convicted of a violation or any federal or state real estate law, no felony convictions, and cannot be related by blood or marriage or employed by a real estate licensee. The Alabama Real Estate Commission members are not allowed to hold any elective or appointed state or federal office simultaneously with their term. It's one or the other. Their terms of service is 5-year terms and no more than 2 consecutive terms. There is an exception when they're waiting on a successor. The executive staff consists of an executive director, assistant executive director, and other staff members necessary to conduct commission duties. They are paid $300 per month plus per diem travel allowance for each day of official business of the commission. Their jurisdiction is over actions by a licensee that can harm the consumer in a real estate transaction. Complaints begins with serving the accused personally or by certified email. The accused is given 15 days notice of time, date, and place of hearing. Refusal of the licensing applicant, they can file
a request to have a hearing within 15 days notice of the delivery. A written notice of a hearing together with a statement of charges is sent by certified mail to the licensee. Testimony may be taken before the hearing by deposition. If the respondent does not appear at the hearing will be held without the licensee, and the licensee will be bound by the decision. Hearings are held in Montgomery unless the venue is changed by the Commission. All witnesses are sworn in. Commission renders a decision within 30 days. The accused may be heard by counsel or in person, and they can offer testimony and or examine witnesses. And if this matter is subject to an action pending in any civil or criminal court, the Commission may choose to withhold an order pending the disposition of that court action. Rehearings are within 30 days of filing application for a hearing. The Commission shall make a decision to deny or grant a rehearing. If you don't get notice that there's a rehearing, you can deem it was denied. You may file an application for a rehearing within 30 days of receiving that decision, but it does not modify the effective date. Appeals. You must file an appeal within 30 days of the final order. You file the appeal in the Circuit Court of Montgomery County or the county of the accused residence. Must post a $200 appeal bond with the court. Appeal is not a supersedis, meaning you can continue to work. You can't. You're still bound by that final order. But if you request a stay of enforcement by a court and they agree to it, then you would be allowed to work. Commission files a case with the circuit clerk and conducted in accordance with the Alabama Rules of Civil Procedure. An appeal shall be conducted without any jury and confined to the record. No new evidence can be introduced. The Commission's decision is final. Now, if the decision is confirmed, the cost of the appeal shall be taxed to the appealing party. But if not, the Commission will be taxed. So if you prevail, the Commission will pay for the appeal. If you don't, they won't. The Commission may issue reprimands, re-education, fines, and the denial, suspension, or revocation of licenses. The revocation of a broker's brokerage license automatically places on inactive status all the licensees employed by the broker. A suspended or revoked broker must cancel all listings, buyer agency agreements, tenant representations, and property management agreements. Fines are up to $2,500. You can receive reprimand, suspension, revocation of a license, and may be required to complete continuing education courses. The Real Estate Recovery Fund. Consumers that have suffered monetary damages as a result of a licensee's violation of Alabama real estate license law are eligible to apply to the Recovery Fund for compensation. The purpose of the fund is to pay an aggrieved party for actual compensatory damages as a result of conduct of a broker or salesperson. The fund will not pay interest or court cost. Certain conditions and limitations are included. The Real Estate Commission Revenue Fund. All fees, fines, charges, or other money, except as provided in Section 342731 and except as provided in this section for multi-year licenses, collected by the Commission shall be deposited in the State Treasury to the credit of the Real Estate Commission Revenue Fund and shall be dispersed by the State Comptroller on order of the Executive Director at the direction of the Commission. All right, so who can get paid? Well, The judgment is made against a licensee. So the person coming to the Real Estate Recovery Fund needs to have filed suit and prevailed in a court of law. The amount shall not exceed $50,000 against any one person. Now, if there's multiple claims out of one transaction, the limit is $25,000 in aggregate regardless of the number of claimants. The minimum balance required in the fund is not less than $500,000. When a licensee makes application for an original license, they must pay $30. It will be returned if the commission does not issue a license. When a salesperson obtains a broker status, the fee is not required because payments are only made at one time. Recovery fee exemption. Any licensee whose original license is issued on inactive status shall not be required to pay the Real Estate Recovery Fund fee for that license until such time as a license is activated. For such a license to be activated, the initial recovery fund fee and any supplemental recovery fee will be submitted to the commission along with other appropriate documentation and fees. The fund shall not be obligated to pay for when on behalf of his or her child, spouse, parent, or inactive licensee or timeshare project. When someone with the intent of receiving compensation performs the services of a licensee, whether as a part of a transaction or as the entire transaction, or anyone who claims to be a licensee, they must hold a real estate license.
In the situations coming up on the following slides, just so you know, it's unlawful for anyone or business entity to either receive or expect to receive any consideration, money, compensation, whatever you like to call it, for these situations unless they have an Alabama real estate license. So in Alabama, you must have an active Alabama real estate license in these situations: buy or sell or offer to buy or sell, aid, attempt, or offer to aid, procure or assist in procuring of prospects for the purpose of effecting a sale, exchange, lease, or rental property, or present yourself or be presented as being able to perform an act which a license is required. And this is for compensation. Now, understand, compensation is just not money exchanging hands. It can be gift cards, gifts such as a fine bottle of wine, season tickets to a football game, anything like that. That's considered consideration. There is an exception to every rule, and that is for sell by owner. That's people who act on their own behalf. Any person can list, buy, rent, or sell their own property without a real estate license. Licensee. That describes any business, organization, or individual that has been granted legal permission by another entity to engage in an activity. All right, the qualifications for a salesperson's license. You got to apply for licensure with the commission. You have to be 19 years old, have both a state and national criminal background check that goes along with your fingerprints, high school diploma or equivalent, successfully complete the 60-hour salesperson's pre-licensing course, and any other information that's requested by the commission. You also have to be competent and trustworthy. You have to have not had an application for licensure be rejected in any other state other than for the failure to pass the written exam in a 2-year prior to the examination. Also, you cannot have a license that's been revoked in any state within the past 2 years. The commission may reject an application of any person who's been convicted or pleaded guilty or nolo contendere to a felony or crime involving moral turpitude. So, after meeting the education and/or experience requirements, You have to pass the real estate licensing examination with a score of 70% or higher. Applicants have 6 months to pass the state exam after completing the course. If these deadlines are not met, the course must be retaken. If an original license is not issued within 6 months, the temporary license shall automatically be placed on inactive status by the Commission. Now, in the remaining 6 months, the licensee can complete the 30 hours of post-licensing and have their original license issued. If they do not complete those 30 hours within that year, their license expires and lapses automatically, and they have to start all over again. A temporary license is not subject to renewal procedures and cannot be renewed. Post-licensing. You must complete 30 hours of post-licensing course prior to the original license being issued. You must complete the course within 6 months of issuance of the temporary license and have the original license issued. Continuing education requirements. On or before September 30th of the final year of each licensing period, licensees must submit proof of the completion of not less than 15 hours of approved continuing education coursework. Failure to meet this deadline will result in the license being placed on inactive status on the following October 1st, and the license shall be subject to reactivation requirements. Continuing education shall not result in a passing or failing grade, and fees are listed on the handout. A licensed real estate assistant is registered and paid by the broker for real estate activities. If unlicensed, they're either paid by the sales associate or the broker and is limited in the activities that can be undertaken. September 30th. All licenses are issued for 2-year terms and expire on September 30th of even number years.